Mr. Karamo, the president of the Association of Gambian Students in Malaysia, to give the opening remarks. Mr. Karamo, are you here with us? It's like Mr. Karamo is not here, so I think we'll just move on to the next one on the agenda. That is like handing over the baton to the YCBA for the commencement of the debate. Thank you very much. Mr. Basiru, if you are here, you can take over.
Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to the participants and the members of the audience across the globe. Yeah, my name is Basiru Jalo, a part of the educating team. Here with me, we have Mohammed Bah, our senior judge. I would allow him to give us at least, or to take us through the score sheet before we start the debate. Mohammed, please, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Basiru. Please, may I confirm if all of you are able to hear me, please? All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Basiru, and thank you, the organizers. Again, thank you, everybody, for creating time to be part of this important encounter. So like Basiru said, we are going to try by all means to be, okay, so my face, the problem I have right now is my gadgets are not working as they should. So the moment I want to go through the score sheet, I'm not sure my face would still be visible, but for now it can be. So yeah, I am. All right, so hello everyone. Like Basiru said, we're going to try by all means to be very brief with the score sheet to be able to enable the debaters to understand what exactly is expected of them as far as the adjudication team is concerned. And again, just to say a few words that we know would be necessary for the debaters to take note of, considering that we're still at the preliminary stage of the debate. And we all know mostly the beginning of things don't go as we expect them to go. And some of us are even pleasantly surprised by the progress and the success that the championship has registered within this short period. So the score sheet is what would determine what exactly we are looking for as judges as far as today's debate is concerned. So my responsibility today is to share with the debaters what the score sheet indicates, and then what are the things that we're looking at as judges, what are the things that are going to go a long way in influencing the decision that we're going to be reaching at eventually. So I do not know whether when I click on the score sheet, my face is going to stop showing. Is my face still visible? Hello?
Yes.
Am I still shown even after? How about now? Can you all see me still?
Yes, I can see you.
All right. Thank you. So the score sheet, briefly, we are going to be having Kenya going against Malaysia. So as far as our grading is concerned as adjudicators, and then we know we have said maybe most part of this, but then due to formalities, it's always important that these things are said with the debaters so that there is no room for ambiguity. So the first thing that we're looking at as adjudicators would be the content of the debate. All right. So the individual making a presentation is going to be graded based on one of the pillars of the score sheet would be content. And on the content, we look at three fundamental things. All right, we look at the strength of the argument provided, because a person can argue very well, but if the argument that is provided is irrelevant to the motion, then that argument will not be considered to be a strong argument, in as much as it is convincing, but it is irrelevant. So relevance and strength of the argument is what we're looking at on the content. Another thing we're looking at on the content would be critical thinking and analysis. And this is something that we don't have to deliberate on, because every right-thinking debater knows that this is it goes a long way, and this is equally something that we look at as judges when we are grading debaters. And then research and evidence is equally on the content. All right. So it's very important that any point that the debater provides, the debater is able to at least give us sufficient evidence that is sourced from credible entities or institutions. So these are the three things we look at on the content. And please, I'm pleading with all the debaters to try by all means to ensure that they align themselves with these expectations. So we look at structure as well. On the structure equally, we look at three things. That is clarity and coherence. All right, is the debater clear, and are they coherent in their delivery? And then we look at understanding of roles as well. We realize that part of this debate, we are assuming a system, and that system has rules, all right? And the rules governing that system stipulate very clearly that if a person is to be given a particular role, that individual is expected of performing certain tasks as in line with that particular role. So if a person understands their role as well, that is considered under their structure. And then logical flow of ideas as well. All right, ideas, are they, is there any coherence in the flow of your ideas? And the next thing we look at will be rebuttals. So under rebuttals is about listening and engaging with the opposing arguments. We understand that in a debate, if a point is made and such a point is not rebutted, then that point tends to stand from the beginning of the debate right through to the end. And like I always say, as adjudicators, it is not our responsibility to say who is right or wrong. Our responsibility is to work with what we're given. So if you believe that your opponent has made a point and you believe that the point doesn't deserve to be considered, it is your responsibility to let us know that. It is not based on our judgment to determine whether or not a particular point that is being made is correct or not. All right, so that is the reason why rebuttals are very important. And then time management, very important. You're going to be given 7 minutes each. So it's important that on the time management, we want to know whether or not the debaters are adhering to the time limits, the pacing as well, whether they're speaking faster or slowly. And then the final summary as well, like we say, it's always important to provide that. We're all human, so we're listening to you. If you've spoken for a while, there's always this tendency of us maybe not being in line with everything that you must have said. So it's important to at least give us a summary of what you must have said. So in brief, this is what it is: content, structure, rebuttals, and time management. And each of these things is given a particular grade. So I think we're marking content out of 40, structure is 30, rebuttals 20, and time management 10. So all of that put together gives us 100. So that's it. If there is no questions from anybody right now, I throw the baton back to Basiru, but Basiru seems to be engaged right now. So if the debaters are set and there is no concern from any of the debaters, we can get started, please. Please, was I being audible when I was speaking, please? Hello, guys. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, you are audible. Yeah, you are audible. I think we are waiting for the
Yes. So
the government going to come.
Okay. Can we confirm whether all of them are around, please?
Sure, they are all around here. For all of them are around. You have Madeline,
Okay,
Kim, yes, and Fatou.
okay, okay. So just a side note, I think one of the participants for Kenya reached out to the adjudicators formally that the individual will be busy with I think certain assignments that the individual has been given as part of the celebration of the feast that is ongoing right now. So I think the person said, I can't remember whether it's a he or a she, but the person will be busy running some church activities. So as a result, the individual would still be able to debate, but the problem would be they would not be able to turn on their camera while they're debating on, regarding that, considering that there are a lot of activities ongoing around her right now. So it would not be ideal to do that. So she has made that appeal, and we have considered it as adjudicators. And then we've decided to allow her go ahead without necessarily on her camera, but then with all of you, that again speaks to the integrity of the process. All right, because if a particular rule is laid down for a particular exercise, we should not necessarily always try to see how best we can waive those rules. So we just want to plead with all debaters to ensure that we don't get to have this kind of a request again as the championship progresses. Yeah, and we'll indulge to equally understand this is the situation from her end as we speak. And yeah, so going forward, we are going to try by all means to ensure that such requests don't really come up. Yeah. So if the representatives of Kenya are around, please, we can get started.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay. Honorable adjudicators, members of the House, our worthy opponents, and fellow debaters, good afternoon. West Africa today is facing a crisis, not a theoretical one, not an academic one, a real crisis of democracy. In just the last few years, elected governments in Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Niger were removed, not at the ballot box, but at gunpoint. Soldiers walked into presidential offices, arrested elected leaders, suspended the constitution, and took over power. Each time, powers intervened.
Hello.
It appears we've lost Madeline. I don't know whether it's only from my end, but I'm unable to hear her.
I think there's a network issue here. It's from my end as well.
Yeah, please, Madeline. But you all can hear me right now, no?
Sure.
Can you all hear me? Okay. All right. So, Madeline, please, can someone confirm with her? Can someone confirm with either her or the opponent? Sorry, the partner that we're unable to hear her. So that the moment we are able to hear her, she would have to go back to everything that she must have said. Please.
Yeah, it is confirmed that she has left the meeting.
Hi, I'm so sorry. The internet is a bit bad here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, please, loud and clear. We've now got you back. So if you could maybe take a few steps backwards, please.
Okay, no problem. Honorable adjudicators, members of the House, our worthy opponents, and fellow debaters, good afternoon. West Africa today is facing a crisis, not a theoretical one, not an academic one, but a real crisis of democracy. In just the last few years, elected governments in Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Niger were removed. Not at the ballot box, but at gunpoint. Soldiers walked into presidential offices, arrested elected leaders, suspended the constitution, and took power. Each time, ECOWAS condemned the action. Each time, ECOWAS imposed sanctions. And each time, ECOWAS stayed. Therefore, this House must ask a simple question. Why do these coups keep happening? The real answer is clear. Because there is no real deterrence. Mr. Speaker, I would like to discuss the structure of my debate, and I would like to define the key terms, give reason, and summarize, then conclude. Therefore, that is why this House supports the stationing of a standing ECOWAS military force in all West African countries for the protection of democracy. ECOWAS is a regional organization that West African states voluntarily joined. They were not forced to join. Created in 1975, it was designed for economic integration, regional development, and peace, according to ECOWAS. However, civil wars in Liberia and Sierra Leone showed that economic progress cannot exist without political stability, according to Jay. As a result, ECOWAS adopted the 1999 security mechanisms and the 2001 supplementary protocol on democracy and good governance, which rejects military coups and allow collective action against unconstitutional changes of government, according to ECOWAS. A standing ECOWAS military force is a regionally commanded, permanently ready force composed of troops contributed voluntarily by member states under pre-signed commitments. These troops are trained, equipped, and ready for rapid deployment, but the force is not an occupying army and does not violate sovereignty. It is designed strictly for deterrence and protection, according to Jay and Williams. By protection of democracy, we mean preventing coups and safeguarding constitutional rule, not choosing leaders, ruling states, or imposing governance. Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. When soldiers overthrow elected governments, they do not just remove president, they steal the power from the member states. ECOWAS intervention protects the citizens' right to govern themselves. This force is therefore a shield and not a sword. Moving on to the reasons why we support the motion, we've seen that the first reason is because coups persist because they are cheap. Mr. Speaker, coups succeed when punishment is delayed or uncertain, according to Powell and Time. In Mali, Guinea, and Niger, sanctions came after coup leaders consolidated power, according to Yusuf. A standing ECOWAS force changes this by ensuring immediate and credible deterrence, raising the cost of attempting a coup, according to Travers. Mr. Speaker, the second reason is that African evidence shows force work. We've seen in the Gambia during the 2016 and 2017 demonstrate that the pre-planned credible military presence can restore democracy peacefully, according to Hardman. Similarly, in Guinea-Bissau and Benin, benefit from preventive regional interventions, Mr. Speaker, according to Jay and Williams. Force does not need to be used to be effective. It must be credible, coordinated, and ready. Mr. Speaker, the third reason is that at standing force work globally. Permanent rapid responses forces prevent crises worldwide. We've seen other regional organizations like NATO, the EU battlegrounds, and the African Union standby force maintain stability through constant readiness and predictability, according to Williams. ECOWAS has a legal mandate. A standing force provides the permanent capacity currently lacks. Mr. Speaker, if we reject this motion, a system where generals learn that power can be taken by force, a region where constitutions are temporary documents, a future where elections are optional, this status quo has failed. Coups persist because they are cheap. The Gambia has proven to be a credible force that works. Guinea-Bissau and Benin showed prevention matters. Other regions show standing forces work, and democracy by Abraham Lincoln belongs to the people and not the gun, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, I didn't accept a POI. Honorable adjudicators, this motion is not about loving military power. It's about recognizing that democracy without protection is just paper. Standing ECOWAS force real meaning. And therefore, in West Africa, power belongs to the people. Mr. Speaker, I would like to remind you of what I've said. First, I gave a definition of why ECOWAS was created, the key definition of what democracy is, why ECOWAS was created, and I gave 3 reasons as to why we support the motion, because coups passes because they're cheap. The Gambia has proven to be a credible force for Guinea-Bissau and Benin show that prevention matters, and that other regions have showed standing forces do work, and democracy is for the people. A standing ECOWAS military force gives the real meaning to the promise that power in West Africa belongs to the people and not to the gun. For these reasons, this House must support the motion. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mrs. Madeline Mendy, for that submission. And please, if the House is set, can we hear from the opposition leader?
May I confirm whether I can be seen or heard, please?
Seen, no. Heard, yes.
Okay, I think I need permission to be seen from the moderators there. I've turned on my camera though.
Please, whoever is responsible, help us out, please.
No, I think he just has to on his camera. Because everything is digital.
Am I seen now?
Yeah, sure. With your blue garment just here.
Thank you.
Clearly.
All right. Why is that? All right. Honorable judges, respected timekeeper, my worthy opponents, and my beloved audience. I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, depending on where exactly your location might be. My name is Usman Bari. In the capacity of the opposition leader today, I strongly oppose the motion which says that today this House supports the stationing of a standing ECOWAS military force in all West African countries for the protection of democracy in the region. Honorable judges, to clarify the perimeter of this debate, I will debunk the baseless and unfounded arguments of the Prime Minister, highlight my point of argument, and accept one POI, summarize and conclude my debate. Honorable judges, it is with deep disappointment that our Prime Minister fails to understand the motion of this House presented today. She is arguing about the importance of ECOWAS. We are not here today to argue about the importance of ECOWAS. We are here to put a balance, measure whether the stationing of ECOWAS in all West African countries permanently has more harm than good, or indeed it has more good than harm. This is what we are talking about today. To continue, honorable judges, before I continue, first, excuse me. Honorable judges, the House to be in this Muslim debate today, we say this House supported the stationing of all standing ECOWAS military. According to Oxford Dictionary, that standing ECOWAS military means that putting all ECOWAS forces permanently in every African in every West African countries, and also West African countries refers to that sub-regions, all sovereign and sovereign states that are located in the sub-region of West Africa, and democracy, as defined by Abraham Lincoln, it is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Honorable judges, I ask the Prime Minister, where in this definition did I mention ECOWAS or any military force? To proceed with my debate, honorable judges, I would first of all highlight my points of arguments also. These points of arguments include, first, a station ECOWAS across all West African countries weaken state sovereignty. And second, a one-size-fits-all military policy ignores political diversity. Last but not the least, permanent ECOWAS forces erode democratic legitimacy. Honorable judges, before I proceed, let me make this clearly. We stand firmly in opposition to this motion. We support democracy, we support regional peace, and we support ECOWAS' role in West Africa. But we reject the notion that democracy will be strengthened by permanently stationing a standing military force in all West African countries. This proposal presented by the Prime Minister misunderstands democracy, and I dismiss it to be nonsense because it undermines regional cooperation and displaces more effective, peaceful mechanisms that already exist. Honorable judges, to proceed. My first point of contention is that a stationed ECOWAS across all West African countries weakens state sovereignty. By permanently stationing an ECOWAS military force across all West African states, this House violates a core principle of democracy, which is sovereignty. Democracy presupposes a sovereign state. A state that lacks full authority over its territory and security is not democratic in substance. Yes, I repeat. In the Gambia, democracy is constitutionally grounded in sovereignty. Section 1(2) of the 1997 Constitution states that the sovereignty of the Gambia resides in the people, while Section 2 establishes that constitutional supremacy. These provisions require that all coercive power, especially military force, ultimately derived from the people through national institutions. A permanently stationed ECOWAS force introduces armed authority that does not derive its mandate from the Gambian people, thereby undermining democratic self-rule. This is reinforced by international law. Article 2(1) of the UN Charter affirms sovereign equality, and Article 2(7) prohibits intervention in domestic affairs. Article 1 of the ICCPR guarantees the right of peoples to self-determination, and Article 4A of the AU Constitutive Act requires respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. Honorable judges, our point of contention as the opposition team today, we are saying for temporary and exceptional intervention may be justified. Yes, we agree. Permanent military presence in all states is not. Permanence removes ultimate authority from the people and places it beyond democratic accountability. Democracy without sovereignty is a contradiction, and for that reason alone, this House must reject this motion. Honorable judges, to tell you, ownership without control is not ownership. It is just a form of decoration. To proceed to my second point, honorable judges, a one-size-fits-all military policy ignores political diversity. Agree with me, honorable judges, and the government bench. Imagine you go to the University of the Gambia and you expect to have one t-shirt printed size of L to be worn by all university students. It is possible. People have different weight, people have different sizes. Some are fat, some are slim in size. We cannot expect one size of shirt to fit everybody. West Africa is not homogeneous. It contains democracies at different stages of stability and legitimacy. Some states face deep insurgencies and government issues, while others maintain functioning democratic systems. Imposing a uniform standing force assumes all states are equally fragile and equally in need of permanent troops, a false and dangerous assumption presented by the Prime Minister. I will not go far. I will take example from our neighbor, Senegal, for example, has managed political disputes through dialogue and institutions without the need for a standing foreign force, highlighting that context matters. A force that treats Senegal the same way it treats a failed state compresses political realities, imposes a blunt military solution on complex, diverse society. Honorable judges, our suggestion to this point is that ECOWAS should tailor its response, using mediation, diplomacy, and institution building where appropriate. No one military solution for all. And I will pose a question to the government back, and I hope they would answer. Should Senegal's functioning democracy really be managed the same way as a state in crisis, despite them reading from, we are not seeing their faces, yes, but I expect them to answer this question. I hope they will not chat GPT. And to move to my third point, honorable judges, permanent ECOWAS forces erode democratic legitimacy. Democracy exists because political power comes from the people, not from foreign troops stationed indefinitely. When citizens see external soldiers permanently present, the story shifts from we choose this government to this government survives because troops protect it, honorable judges. Let us be honest here. We have already seen the consequences. ECOWAS threats of sanction and military pressure contributed to Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger withdrawing from the bloc, forming the alliances of Sahel states. These three states represented a half of the alliance's territory, 17% of its population, and 7.7% of its GDP, underscoring the scale of the regional fracture and caused by coercive approaches. They decided coercion and interference rather than genuine democratic support, showing that permanent intervention fosters resistance, political fragmentation, and distrust. Honorable judges, ECOWAS could better support democracy through credible election monitoring, civic education, and diplomatic engagement, reinforcing legitimacy rather than imposing authority. When protection becomes permanent, the question is clear. Are we defending democracy or creating dependency? Permanent military presence substitutes substitute supervision for legitimacy, weakening democracy instead of strengthening it. Honorable judges, as I end this debate today, I will summarize. I will summarize for the
POI.
Accepted, yes.
Firstly, I think you misinterpreted what I said. And secondly, you seem to be in the 1990s days. You're not in the 21st century. Anyways, firstly, sovereignty.
I'm running out of time, and then the question that is coming does not seem to be sensible. I will summarize this debate and end my conclusion today. And at the heart of our opposition is one, permanent ECOWAS forces to weaken democracy by eroding sovereignty. Democracy requires that all military power flows from the people through international institutions, yet a station foreign force and answers elsewhere. And I hope that answered the question that was coming, and I thank you all. I end my piece. Please. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Barry. Please, if you would give us a few seconds to do this, myself and my colleague, so we can invite the Deputy Prime Minister. Before we do that, just give us a second to do this. Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you. I know I am no moderator to be having an opinion on what the debate is, what exactly is ongoing right now, because I nearly said the house is already set ablaze, but it is not in my place for me to be saying that. So please, if the Deputy Prime Minister is set, the house is ready to hear you, please.
Okay. Can I say one or two things before the Deputy Prime Minister comes in?
Please, please.
Okay, I just want to remind the debaters that let them pay attention to their screen, because I will be raising my hand to indicate protected time, start and end. Please, I'll be doing that frequently, and make sure that people understand when to ask and when not to ask POI. Is that clear right now? Thank you.
Please, take note, please, debaters. So the House is set to hear from the Deputy Prime Minister, please.
Hello, can you hear me, see me?
Yes, please,
Hello.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Mr. Speaker, honorable adjudicators, members of the House, worthy opponents, I greet you all. I would like to start by giving you the structure of my debate. I will begin by reminding the House of the motion presented by the Prime Minister. I will give a rebuttal to the opposition leader. I will then argue the Prime Minister's point, support the Prime Minister's point, give my own arguments, and accept one POI, and then summarize and then conclude. To the motion. The Prime Minister has placed before this House a motion of urgent necessity. This House supports the stationing of a standing ECOWAS military force in all West African countries for the protection of democracy in the region. So, Mr. Speaker, the opposition leader has made several claims, one of which is the claiming that there is no one-size-fits-all policy that this motion will adopt. I will tell the opposition leader that democracy, integrity, rule of law, it should be one-size-fits-all. Every country should be ruled by law and by constitution and not by individuals. So that point is baseless and not accepted. And the other point that, Mr. Speaker, that the honorable leader of the opposition gives that pass, gives is that the peaceful mechanisms. There are
POI.
several There are several mechanisms that have been presented in Mr. Speaker. Several coup plots that have been presented in this region that have peaceful mechanisms could not solve. And I could name many that peaceful mechanisms, only military interventions were able to do those things. So, Mr. Speaker, those claims have been tried, tested, and have yield futile. So, to my point, Mr. Speaker, to the points of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has clearly established that deterrence works not when force is used, but when it is credible. Under the scenario 6 of the African Standby Force Policy Framework, a deployment timeline of 4 days. Think about it. 4 days is the deployment timeline that is implemented by the ECOWAS currently. This is not effective. Effective and efficient leaders are pragmatic and proactive. By stationing a standby force now, we are waiting for the house to burn. By stationing a standby force now, we are not waiting for a house to be burned. We are putting fire extinguishers in every room, ensuring that a spark never becomes an inferno. To the second point of the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister had also pointed out that the policy does not destroy sovereignty. It protects it. This claim has clearly rebuked the opposition leader's claim that it destroys sovereignty. Indeed, the Prime Minister's claims are right. This policy is not an invasion. Rather, it is an invitation by sovereign member states to protect their democracy. The alternative to democracy, Mr. Speaker, as history has recorded, is dictatorship. Is the opposition leader claiming that we should go back to dictatorship, that dictatorship is the solution to African problems? I don't think that. And especially after the 22 years of a brutal dictatorship here in the Gambia, from all that we have experienced, dictatorship is not our solution to our problems. When we say never again, Mr. Speaker, later, when we say never again, Mr. Speaker, it is never again for everyone. It is a pledge for our nation and for all neighbors. This force, Mr. Speaker, is how we make that pledge a reality. And to my own points, Mr. Speaker, first, this policy directly safeguards the economic features, preventing military juntas from holding national prosperity hostage.
POI.
Do not merely overthrow, will be taken later. Coups do not merely overthrow government, they hijack economies. Immediate aftermath of a junta takeover is followed by frozen foreign aid, collapse of investor confidence, and sweeping regional sanctions that cripple trade and livelihoods. And more importantly, Mr. Speaker, these sanctions hurt ordinary civilians far more than they do to generals in power, breeding economic hardship and resentment towards ECOWAS without successfully removing the junta. A coup is therefore an economic attack on the nation itself, derailing development and long-term growth for the benefit of a small military faction. POIs will be taken later. I will request for it. Look, a credible, permanently stationed deterrent stops this damage before it begins, Mr. Speaker, by protecting economic stability and preserving countries' development trajectory. Coups typically disrupt economic performance, causing declines in GDP growth, high inflation rates, reduced foreign direct investment, and increased unemployment. These are reported by Flores Brockman. Mr. Speaker, the opposition will try to argue that the president of Burkina Faso, as an example, Mr. Ibrahim Traore, is doing economic, that Mr. Ibrahim Traore's economy is very well, of Burkina Faso. This House should note that short-term optics are not mere long-term gains, are not the same as long-term gains, development. That we are seeing is not genuine. What we are seeing, Mr. Speaker, is not genuine economic growth, but crisis management, emergency price controls, and heavy state intervention designed to keep the regime afloat, not to build sustainable prosperity. These measures make temporarily stabilize markets, but they actively repel foreign investment, restrict access to international finance, and undermine private sector growth without institutional credibility, the rule of law, and predictable governance. No economy can attract long-term capital or create durable jobs. In other words, Mr. Speaker, this is an economy in survival mode, not in development trajectory. To my second point, Mr. Speaker, this policy will break the toxic cycle of tribal or politicized national armies. In many West African countries, Mr. Speaker, the national army is not always neutral. It is often loyal to a specific general, a specific tribe, a specific political patron. An ECOWAS force is politically neutral. A soldier from Senegal stationed in Mali has no interest in Malian tribal politics. They are only loyal to ECOWAS. This force acts as a Republican guard, Mr. Speaker, for the Constitution, not for specific people and not even for the president. The recent state coup in Guinea-Bissau by the incumbent president Umaru Sissoco Embalo in November 2025 tells us a lot about this case. This crucial distinction, Mr. Speaker, is what breaks coup cycle. It provides a permanent, superior, and incorruptible deterrent. Any rogue battalion plotting to seize the presidential palace must now calculate, facing a professional regional brigade. They cannot intimidate, bribe, or sway. The coup plotters, Mr. Speaker, the coup plotters hope for quick, uncontested victory. Is my time up, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Should I conclude or it's okay?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dibasi. Yes, thank you. So the time actually has run out. That is the reason why we made it clear that the debaters should pay attention to their screen, because Mr. Jallo is the one keeping track of the time. And it appears that the time has completely run out. But we wouldn't mind giving you a second or two to conclude, please. Just wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you for that generous offer. This debate, Mr. Speaker, is about choosing between proactive protection and reactive ruin. Our vision stations the fixed extinguisher before the spark. We do not fear, Mr. Speaker, we do this not to fear, but out of fidelity, Mr. Speaker, to a solemn pledge, never again. When we say never again, it's never again for everyone, not just for the Gambia or just for the few. Never again for everyone, and especially for our neighbors. I urge this House to vote for stability, prosperity, and democracy. For this reason above, I support this motion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Dibasi. Thank you for that submission. Please, before we invite the last speaker for this encounter, we want to reiterate the importance and the significance of paying attention to the screen, so that the timekeeper, you are aware of the timekeeper, and then whether or not your time is still subsisting or it has elapsed. Please, we plead and then implore on all the debaters to pay attention to the screen, and then to pay attention to Mr. Jallo while he is raising his hand to indicate whether or not you have run out of your time. So please, if the House is set, may we hear from the last speaker for today's encounter.
Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please, you are. You may go ahead, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You are, Mr. Weir. You are audible.
Yes, from my end, I can hear you loud and clear.
Honorable Chair, respected adjudicators, esteemed government, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Weir Sonko, and I stand as a deputy opposition to firmly oppose the motion which supports the stationing of standing ECOWAS military force across West African countries. Honorable judges, Before going further, I would like to structure my debate. I will strengthen the points of the opposition leader. I will refuse the baseless claim of the government, and I will highlight 2 points showing why this proposal is not feasible. Honorable Speaker, the opposition leader highlighted the danger of permanent militarization, and I want to reinforce this concern. When ECOWAS keep permanent troops across West African countries, many citizens will stop trusting their government. People will feel that the government stay in power because they are protected by foreign soldiers, and this doesn't embrace unity among the citizens and the government. Honorable Speaker, according to Larry J. Diamond, democracy is not a spectator sport. It thrives when institutions, civil society, and citizens are actively engaged, not merely protected by armies. This is where the government then failed to understand. Opposition leader, the government claimed that ECOWAS has the ability to protect the democracy and maintain stability in West Africa. But these arguments does not hold up when you examine closely. Because countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are sourced as a reference. They are also part of West Africa, and they experience coup despite of ECOWAS, despite of the presence of ECOWAS. So this is the reason this proposal is illogical. Honorable Speaker, I will try to raise my first point. I will try to raise my first point. First point is resources and logistical challenges. Honorable Speaker, we all know that ECOWAS is not financially stable. In fact, they rely on other international bodies like UN and European Union for assistance. So maintaining the troops across the West African countries is practically impossible due to highly financial and operational demand. Imagine, Honorable Speaker, imagine the cost of salary, equipment, logistics, and coordination across diverse legal and infrastructure. This will dwarf the budget of ECOWAS. This result would have been more effective if it is invested in proven democratic and measures, including civil society, civil education, election monitoring, institutional building, etc. There is no evidence that permanent militarization works better than targeted intervention, strengthening democracy. Honorable Speaker, this will allow me to move to my second point. My second point is regional escalation risks. A permanent military presence is not neutral, and this is perceived as foreign occupation instead of stabilizing the state. Long-term deployment in regions with zero crisis is a threat to peace and stability, and this undermines democracy and weakening the accountability. Regimes that are protected by foreign troops or regimes that rely on foreign troops should not be trusted. Honorable Speaker, I will give you the case. According to ACLID 2022, according to ACLID 2022, states like Mali and Burkina Faso experienced coups between 2012 and 2020, and despite of the presence of the economic force. So these points debunk all the claims of the Prime Minister. Honorable Chair, in this case, I would like to conclude my debate. Permanent ECOWAS troop across West African permanent ECOWAS troop across West African countries. They are institution. They undermine legitimacy, erode accountability, and encourage coup instead of encouraging stability and unity. For this reason, this House must reject this motion with immediate effect. Honorable judges, for this case, I have strengthened the points of the opposition leader. I have refuted the baseless arguments of the government bench, and also I have raised 2 points that prove that this proposal is not feasible. Also, I presented a case about Mali and Burkina Faso, which proves that this proposal is dangerous to the entire Africa. Honorable judges, In this case, I would like to rest my case.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Wee. Thank you for that submission. Well, it's been an electrifying one, to be quite honest. Again, like we say, usually it's easier to judge a debate whose result can be said even without necessarily going through what people have said, because it's very obvious. And this is not one of those. It's been a heated encounter from the beginning of the debate right through to the end. Everybody seems to have understood the roles that they've been given, and the motion seems to have been understood in its proper sense. So on that note, we want to let the audience know that the judges would have to go in recess, and then we will take some time to go through whatever it is that we have taken note of, and then come to a consensus as judges. And once we do, we are going to reconvene and then announce the results, and as well identify who the best speaker for today's encounter is, and then say a few words where necessary with both the debaters and then the audience as well. So on that note, we wish to be excused while we go into recess to consider whatever it is that we've taken note of during the course of the debate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Bashiru. So next on the agenda, we are going to open the platform so for the general attendees to discuss on the table motion. So whoever has anything to add to it, you are welcome. The floor is yours. Yes, Jariat, you can come in.
I am in support of the opposition motion. As per the logistic, it just doesn't make sense. ECOWAS doesn't have enough money to support a stationing in every country. How many countries comprises of the ECOWAS nation? And it's not every nation that is unstable. I think they could have the ones on the prime minister could have supported the motion by saying it could be stationed in some specific unstable ECOWAS nations. But we're saying it should be stable. They should have a permanent station in every ECOWAS station. Logistically, it doesn't make sense. So I'm in support of the opposition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jaria Tubari, for those wonderful remarks. So, Mr. Sajo A.K. Jaju, Mr. Aburahim Jallo, the president of Association of Diamond Students in Kenya, if you have anything to add, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening from the Indian side. I don't know why this moderator always wants to put me on spotlight. Anyway, I think the motion that is being debated is actually a very timely motion, and I believe as both sides of the aisle debated, that is both the opposition and that of the government, they had given their views as far as the motion is concerned, which is this House supports the stationing of a standing ECOWAS military force in all West African countries for the protection of democracy in the region. So essentially looking at the said motion, when we come to the Gambian settings, most of us will be like, okay, this ECOWAS mission that we are having in the country, we have a problem with them. They should leave. There is issue of trust with our own. Jay, my mom is calling. Allahu Akbar. My mom is more important, no? Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, last born. These are the issues I have with last borns. They don't actually know when to leave. So, Mr. Aziz Bojang, yeah, I can see your hand is up. You can come in, please.
Sorry, good morning from Canada. Can you folks hear me?
Yeah,
Hello,
sure.
can you?
You're audible, Aziz.
I want to first of all thank everyone, especially the two teams. To the Kenyan teams, I say Jambo, Habari, and to the Malaysian team, I say either Salamat Data or Salamat Sia, whichever works for you people giving your time. This is a very interesting theme, and I think both teams have come up with a very strong argument. Coming from a policing background and having worked in international peace support operations, and kind of, I don't know how to really, I'm torn apart. I do not have any specific position in this. But what I think was missing in this debate on both sides is that they did not bring the Gambian example very strongly. They relied on academic stuff and also on other countries for their examples or to back their argument. But remember that Gambia has been a participant in ECOWAS intervention forces and is also a host country of ECOWAS forces. Now, what are the effects? What are the impacts in terms of stability, in terms of democracy? I think this is where we should have first look at our own case and then probably support it with other regional cases or international cases. For me, we've missed that opportunity, and I hope that we can now reflect on that. Gambia started participating in ECOWAS peace support operations, I think in the 80s. The first economic forces that was set to intervene in Liberia was actually that conference, and that intervention was chaired by our former president, Jawara. What was the outcome of that? How did it impact both the region and the Gambia itself? It was following that intervention that we ended up having our own coup in our country. Some commentators link the 1994 coup to the intervention or to our economic forces that returned from Liberia. Whether that is true or not is something to be debated. Now, we have our own ECOWAS force that is right now in the Gambia. Thanks to their intervention, we were able to remove a dictator that has been there for 22 years. Let's close our eyes and imagine if we do not have an intervention force at that moment. What would happen? I don't think internally we have the capacity to remove Jammeh at that time. Jammeh is gone. Barrow is here. What's the difference? If there was no intervention, what would this government look like? Would it become dictatorial like Yahya Jammeh became or not? That's something to ask. But also we need to ask ourselves, if it was not, if we do not have this intervention, would Gambians be more emboldened to challenge this government and probably overthrow it? These are the questions, and I do not have answers. I'm just throwing it there. Folks, please stop me if it is getting too long, because this is kind of an area that I have worked in for many, many years. But we also need to understand what is the mandate of this intervention force. Is it to restore internal democracy or to defend the country from external aggression and allow the democratic process to take its course. Like now, let's look at Mali. The military the military overthrew a legitimate government at a time when you have international peacekeeping forces there. Why did the international peacekeeping force, why did they not intervene? What is their mandate? We need to understand. Normally, international peace support operations mandate is to bring about stability, but not to interfere in internal democracy. And we have seen this not only in Mali, but just recently, I think about a month ago in Guinea-Bissau. We still have ECOWAS forces, but the Guinea-Bissau military overthrew the government. Now, one of the speakers, I think from Kenya, Malaysia made a very strong point. It does not make sense to have ECOWAS forces everywhere. If that is the case, why don't we just kind of, upgrade our military, train them in ways that they will not interfere in internal democracy? But again, sustainability. Can we sustain having a standby force in every country? Who's going to fund it? Because one of the weaknesses of ECOWAS is funds. Funding has become a major issue. They do not have the funds. They do not have the, the logistics to effectively implement their mandate. So these are things that I wanted us to think about. But this is a very, very good debate, and I want to thank everybody.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Aziz, for those wonderful remarks. Thank you very much. So I want to call on the Finance Minister of Government, Mr. Ibrahim Awais Cham, to give remarks. Yeah,
Yes. Good evening. Am I audible? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Wow. Yes. My name is Ibrahim Awais Jam. I am the Finance Minister of the Association of Gambian Students in India. Yes. Now back to the topic. That is to the motion. For me, I believe that we should not have ECOWAS in the Gambia. They should leave. I believe ECOWAS, they have a lot of responsibilities than staying in the Gambia. We have a lot of security problems, security concerns. So I believe they should focus on those things, than being in the Gambia. One thing I have with ECOWAS is that they will see leaders who will come, change the constitution, remove term limit, and they will not say anything. But once coup happen, they will start coming with their press releases saying that we condemn this, we condemn that. For me, I have to believe that before coup, like ECOWAS, they have a duty. But the only time you will know that ECOWAS really exists is when a coup happens. That's the time they will come say that ECOWAS condemn this, ECOWAS condemn that. No, and then now let's go back. What are some of the progresses that ECOWAS have registered? Very few. So I believe both ECOWAS and then African Union, both of them failed. So ECOWAS, they should go back to the drawing board, they should strategize and see how best to control certain situations, than only being in the Gambia. So for me, I have to believe that they should go. Let them go back to the drawing board, put their house in order, let them force the leaders to respect the constitution, respect what the people want, respect the voices of the people, than being stationed in the Gambia and doing nothing. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wise Cham, for those wonderful remarks. Just like you said, just like in football, like ECOWAS is more like the referee. So if you don't execute your duties, whatever has to happen in the long run, like you cannot blame it on the people that are actually doing the coup. Like for example, the case of Uganda right now, we see what Museveni is doing to Bobby Wine. So in case Bobby Wine decide on actually like trying to do a coup, that is when you are actually going to see ECOWAS coming outside like trying to saying like what Bobby Wine is doing is actually wrong. When we have seen Museveni, he will be changing things the way it favors him. So there are certain things, there are many things that are happening. Sometimes like ECOWAS, I think that they are not proactive. They are just reactive to things that are actually happening in Africa. So for me, that's the thing. So Mr. Basseni, you said all the unions are failed. So the floor is yours. You can actually come in and say something. Yeah. Mr. Sankumba Balajo, you can come in here.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. While the debate focuses on ECOWAS within African countries, I think it is important to narrow the scope to our beloved country, the Gambia. As the current situation, as we speak today, our national armed forces have been tasked to operate in sensitive and challenging environment due to conflicting decisions between sustaining the national economy and maintaining a strong defense forces. I believe we escaped the barbarism of Yahya Jammeh era only to find ourselves entangled in so-called ECOWAS framework, which is invented by our own self to invade our own country in the sovereign country of our beloved nation. And then not only because I'm opposing the existence of ECOWAS, their survival has consumed a significant national resources. Meanwhile, critical sectors such as healthcare remain severely unfunded, yet we continue to finance and support intervention forces beyond our borders. Gambia is secure. Gambia is peaceful. Gambia, we have nothing to do with ECOWAS, where I think we can be protected by our own armed forces. But why we are keeping this ECOWAS? This raises a serious question about national priorities, sovereignty, and whether we should hold to ECOWAS. In its current form, truly serve the best interests of the Gambian people. Is ECOWAS serving us, or ECOWAS is serving the Africa, or ECOWAS is serving who? This is the question I think most of the Africans now having in their mind. Are they serving the West, or are they serving us? We can analyze the current situation in Niger and in the other countries. But I think from my own perspective, ECOWAS, we can talk about ECOWAS. We can talk about their crookedness. We can talk about their failures and other things. But as Gambian, let's analyze the situation from our own country, from our own perspective, not their perspective, from our own perspective. What ECOWAS has done to Gambia. Is this something Africans should look forward in leading their own affairs and other things? I think ECOWAS is complete failure for the entire Africa, not only Gambia and other things. You can look where ECOWAS are. We can see where ECOWAS are operating. They are operating with total failure, with no vision, with no plan. Their only plan is to promote chaos, not stability. Today, my country suffers a lot, and then I hope we will find ourselves a way to get out of this mess. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sankumba. So from what everyone is actually saying, I think we need to change it now. From Economics Committee of West African States to Economic Committee of West African Incumbents. Because whatever they're doing, like they are just supporting those that are actually in power. Whatever they do, they won't talk. But whenever like the masses have to stand up to actually defend themselves, that is actually when they are going to come up with those policies that we cannot just understand. So, Mr. Aziz Bojang, you can come in again.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump in to make some clarifications about the role of ECOWAS. To say that ECOWAS are not doing anything, I think I want to beg to disagree. They're doing a lot. We have to understand the architecture of international organizations. And this is not only limited to ECOWAS, but also AU and the UN. These are organizations that states voluntarily choose to participate. And they have protocols and conventions that they need to sign to become members. Those protocols and conventions do not take away the national sovereignty, the sovereignty of a state to act on their own. The fourth role of ECOWAS is dialogue and consensus building. And they have been doing that and they are continuing to do that. I can tell you for free that right now, ECOWAS is engaging our president to encourage him to not run for a third. Can they force him to not? They cannot. But they are engaging him seriously to say this is going to undermine democracy. It has all indication that if you continue for a third term, you will destabilize the country. That's what ECOWAS can do. They are members. Gambia is a sovereign state that choose to participate, and they can choose to respect or disrespect a particular agreement, particular convention on ECOWAS. We have the same thing in the UN. Like United Nations have their convention. Even the UN cannot come into Gambia and intervene if Gambia government do not agree. The only time an international force will forcefully intervene in a country's internal affairs, internal conflict, is when there is gross human rights abuse, like genocide or human crimes against human. This is the only time they can. So to say that ECOWAS are not doing anything, I don't do it. It's the nature of the arrangement itself. And they are working very hard to strengthen democracy. But it's like all of us sitting here, let's take this as, this is ECOWAS, right? We all decided to participate in this debate willingly. Is that right? When I look at the number of participants, I've seen it fluctuating. Some of them are leaving, some of them are coming. Is it because we are not doing anything? That's why some are leaving or some are coming? No, it's their choice. But this is a consensus. So let us understand that. I think what ECOWAS needs to do more is to strengthen internal democracy. The main objective of ECOWAS is not even security or peacekeeping. It was economic integration of the West Africa sub-region. Security came about based on the recognition that we cannot have economic integration and stability without having security. And this is where security now comes into play. So I just want us to recognize that. And again, ECOWAS is not AU. ECOWAS is only representing our regional body. Now, if we are taking example of probably AU, and I had someone talk about Uganda. Trust me, how to call it? Is it IGAD? Yes, I think it's IGAD. That is the economic whatever of East Africa. They are engaging Museveni. But again, what can they do? They cannot force Museveni. They cannot forcefully intervene. One of the conditions for international peace, for international forces to establish a base in a country is that the country must accept, must agree or the conflicting parties must agree to allow intervention in a country. If they don't agree, you cannot go in. Unless, like I said earlier, if it has gotten to a point where crimes against humanity are being committed, or genocide, or ethnic cleansing. I hope this will help the debate, but thank you so much for now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aziz, for those wonderful remarks as well. So, Mr. Sankumba, you can come in again. Yeah? You can come in.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aziz, for those wonderful remarks. But still, I have a question. ECOWAS has told us they are engaging with our government to continue to tell us is what will consequence when Barrow failed to do so and then he continued to attack them? Are they going to cut ties? What is the consequence? That's what we cannot hear from ECOWAS. I don't know if you have answers to this question.
I hope this is not now a debate between me and the others. Should I jump in? Is that question meant for me? Sorry, before I go further.
Yes, Mr. Aziz, you can go ahead. You can go ahead. I'm the adjudicator for now. Don't worry, you can go.
Yeah, so let's do this as a general conversation because I don't have any particular answer to it. I'm just kind of giving a general overview of these international arrangements or regional arrangements. And this is based on the fact that I have worked in UN peacekeeping mission. And actually my last assignment with the Gambia Police Force before leaving I was the head of the peacekeeping training center. So that's where I know. I don't know what leverage ECOWAS have in case Barrow failed to honor the agreement and not run for a charter. But it could also include ECOWAS withdrawing their forces. Of course, the ECOWAS forces in the Gambia, their main mandate is to kind of protect the country from any insurgents following the removal of Jammeh. And I think ECOWAS is at a point now where they're saying to the Gambia, you have to complete your security sector reform because we need to move on. We cannot continue to be here. It's expensive, it's unsustainable, and Gambians are unhappy about it. ECOWAS is very much aware of it. And you know, one of the key conditions for coming into a country is legitimacy. And that legitimacy must be given by the country, not only the ruling party or the ruling government, but when ECOWAS feel that they are accepted by the population. If the population do not, the likelihood is that they are going to go. So I don't have an answer, but I can tell you this for free, that they are prevailing on Barrow to not run for a third term. And I still have a glimpse of hope that at some point, Barrow will have no choice but to listen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aziz, for that. So, Mr. Basini, I've seen that you are active on the chat box. If you have anything to add, the floor is still open now.
Spotify. Actually, I want to come up, but I think Mr. Aziz have been speaking my mind and others. So I'm just go to the chat box today. Let me just be typing today.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Modlamin Jeng, Dendenayo and Masembe International Airlines, if you have anything to add, the floor is still open here. Mr. Jeng, you can come up. You can come in here. Mr. Sankumba Balajo, you can come in here. I think.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aziz, for those insightful words. I think Mr. Aziz's answers has implied like what the opposition bench has been supporting for so long. ECOWAS has failed. They has failed in the Gambia. They have no vision plan. They have no future. They have failed in the other African countries, also not only in the Africa. So I think this point has reaffirmed the opposition bench position. ECOWAS is a failed international association or any, you can call it organization or something, but the matter of the fact is they are failed association. Thank you.
I'm going to come back. I don't like to hear this word, they have failed. I think ECOWAS have done a lot and they are doing a lot. Yes, there are challenges. I want to also broaden this again and bring in the international perspective. These regional blocks like ECOWAS, like SADC, like IGAD, they are economic blocks. They draw their mandate from the United Nations Security Council. And it's not only in Africa. If you go to, say, in the Caribbean, where I used to go to school, they also have their own regional arrangements. Some of these interventions also need to be approved by the UN before they can take place. When you were, if some of you were following the 2016 events that led to the removal of Yahya Jammeh, not only did the government, our government, with support of Senegal, seek the support of ECOWAS, but they also went to the AU to get their approval. And then they proceeded to the UN General Assembly or to the UN Security Council, who now approved the intervention by ECOWAS. So ECOWAS is representing a larger body of international peace support operations, which is the UN. And again, if I were to say ECOWAS have failed, maybe let's say they failed in restoring peace. But like I said, ECOWAS is doing more than just peace. And in fact, in peace, what we are seeing is more of, how would I call it, peace enforcement. But there are other components like peace building, which they are doing very well, engaging governments, engaging other organizations. ECOWAS is supporting our security sector reform. They're doing a lot. They are providing expertise and they are providing resources.
Oh, okay.
So,
Thank you.
I don't think they failed us.
Sorry for interrupting you, Mr. Amis.
Yeah.
It's like our adjudicators are ready. They said the results are already ready, so they will soon come in for the analysis. So maybe like if you can give a brief summary so that we can allow them in here.
I'm done. You go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much again, Mr. Aziz Bojang, our able grandfather. So, Mr. Basiru and Mr. Mohammed, the floor is yours. You can come in.
Okay, thank you so much, Mustafa. I have a few things to say. Mohammed is going to share the details with you. Okay. I just want to give feedback regarding the encounter, starting from the government bench. Their strength relied on what we call giving a context of the debate, which was very good. That it is important to give a context of the debate and some institutional framework that's supposed to be followed, and of course to tell people why ECOWAS is responsible. It's very important that I believe it was mentioned. It was my expectation, sure. Yeah, the issue I have was like, honestly, 7 minutes. Sometimes it's short. And I'll be very, I will not be fair to you if I would like to say that you have to support all your points with how to call unlimited, what we call unlimited premises. But if you can have 2 or 3 premises support a conclusion, honestly, you are giving something very important at the end of the day. That would be a very high mark. But what I believe was like lacking was, okay, sovereignty, stealing power from the of the people. That would be like military intervention and the likes. I believe that was like something that has to be put in place. Do you believe that they steal sovereignty from the people? It was like, how was it? Yeah, of course, ballot boxes. Not a power was taken through the barrel of gun, not ballot boxes. Was a very good point to be precise. At some point, the persistent, what do you call, coup without punishment, I was a bit lost. I did not understand exactly what you were trying to allude to, and that at some point, in my opinion, was like lacking very strong argument or ingredients to support this. Could in general or stationing these people on these individuals was the standing by force an institution of correcting the ill of the past, or was it like a systematic punishment to the coup plotters and the likes? Was not very clear. I think it would have been shown that, okay, out there, this force would be a different, would take a different mechanism in preventing. That was a support coming from the deterrent force. That would be like, put in this place, put in this before the issue happened. NATO was used as an example. I was like, okay, NATO, they succeeded at some point, but the importation of the NATO analogy was not very conceptualized in the ECOWAS context. Do you understand? Here we are looking at what we call standing by force. I just want to get it briefly. Mohammed is going to say a lot about that. And when it's come to the ECOWAS missions in Gambia or something like that, I was like, okay, good case studies mentioned. At the end of the day, I was like, okay, was this like a standing by force or an ad hoc force? Ad hoc force in the sense that, okay, they only act. That's what we have at ECOWAS level. If there's a problem, they mobilize forces and they do certain things, and then so the troops are sent. Yes, I was expecting also an attack from the opposition. Okay, these examples or historical things that you are trying to mention, okay, were they successful as a result of an ad hoc force or what we call a standby force? That's where the debate, I believe, should have been, centered on. Above all, the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, they conceptualize everything and they set the stand of the government at all cost. But there are limited examples citing from Guinea-Bissau was not a successful one. The deterrent did not work there, although it was used as an example. Benin, a crucial example, would have been used, but was it an ad hoc or a standing by force? That's where I was lost with the analogy. Yeah, the opposition leader came, said the position of the Prime Minister, position of the opposition, points were mentioned, it wrote legitimacy and the likes, but the how was at some point missing. Very strong case. It's important you have what you call citations or constitutional referencing. Section 1.2 talks about the sovereignty and the likes. AU charters or articles came up, but I believe that the issue was like more of descriptive than analysis. I'm sorry to say that, but it's as a result of the time we have. Honestly, I understand it. That's why I'm not going to judge anybody based on what's supposed to be said by me if I were there, but what's been debated all along. rule of law. Sorry, that is one side fit the all. I think Mohammed should look at this in general. I just want to avoid looking at things that he will be looking at later. And they established what we call a very strong mechanism. At some point, I will not say it countered the full force brought by the opposition, but at some point, we came to realize that mediation was seen as a method or a methodological framework that should be put in place, dialogue, because you cannot station troops in Senegal when it's peaceful and they have successfully defended their democracy through institutional framework and the likes. Okay, the issue I have with the how would I call it, with the deputy prime minister at some point, the comportment was so fantastic at some point. Points were mentioned, but the timing was not good was not the best I expected. That would be like 8 minutes was outside the range. All the valid points mentioned afterwards were not counted. That was the thing that impacted the debate from the deputy prime minister. Yeah, and I believe that a lot of premises were supported when it comes to economic hardship, impacts of civilians. Stakeholder analysis were used effectively, but at some point, in his second point, he mentioned politicizing the military or tribalizing the military at some point. I believe that it was mentioned at 7 minutes 20 seconds. Therefore, anything mentioned afterwards will not be counted by the judges. That's where I believe the opposition deputy prime minister fell short. I'm very sorry to say that Mohammed is going to give you the verdict on this issue. And successfully debunk at some point, one side fit the all, rule of law, and rule of law should be universal. As an example, across Africa. Yeah, it was something that I believe was trying to respond to an argument raised by the opposition leader that's okay, one side fit the all, fit all. And at some point, that was the thing I was trying to balance to see who wins. Yeah, the most interesting part of my thing that I would like to share with you, and if I did not do that, that would be like, okay, I might not be fair to the people, to the audience, to anyone listening to us. That would be like points raised by the how would I call it, the deputy opposition. Yes, who raised concern regarding the logistical approach. Yes, but we went through certain tests to say, okay, this argument is sound in general. In my opinion, it's sound. Yes, the claim makes logical sense. A standing force requires salaries, equipment, basis, what we call logistics. ECOWAS already struggled with sanctions, enforcement, and peace-building funding. This claim is plausible in general. But now let's look at the sufficiency of the evidence. Now I asked Mohammed, is the claim strong enough on its own to defeat the policy? On its own, we believe that it was no. Why? Lack of funding does not inherently mean what we call the policy is wrong. Yes, the policy cannot improve or cannot be improved, or government can respond with what we call member state contribution, external funding, scale, or what we call phase implementation. You understand? Now, this was a concern. At some point, okay, ECOWAS doesn't have the phone or something like that. I was expecting like a proof of this. Yeah. Why do you believe that ECOWAS doesn't have the phone or something like that to implement this? It was like, bring it out. We want to hear. We want to be convinced that, okay, ECOWAS doesn't have the phone at some point to do that. Now we ask ourselves, when does this become sufficient? It becomes sufficient only if the opposition shows, example, what you call chronic funding weaknesses, structural or temporary, that underfunding leads to poor discipline, maybe human rights abuses, selective enforcement, that partial or donor funded that you are talking about forces undermine legitimacy. In other words, like funding operational weaknesses, what you call legitimacy loss or democratic harm. These were the things that we believe that should have been put in place. On that note, I thank you. Mohammed is going to continue from this at this save time. I'm very sorry if I was speaking so much fast. If anyone needs individual feedback, please, you can always send me a message. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Basiru. Please, can I confirm if you all can hear me, please? Hello.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. And am I audible, please? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So thank you very much, Mr. Jallo. And like you said, time is always and has always been the enemy. So, I mean, who wouldn't like to give a detailed analysis of this important and interesting encounter? But again, like I always say, time is always the enemy. So we're going to try to be as brief as possible, and that's a promise. So like we said, there's a particular page that is created for participants and then the adjudicators. So in the event that anybody who is a debater, maybe has debated in another round or this round, and feels that they want a detailed feedback of the debate, and then the do's and the don'ts and all of those things in between, can reach out to that particular page and then maybe leave a message. So myself, Basir or Mariama, whoever is available, will try to respond to the concerns. So we don't get to keep people here for a very long time. So I'll give like Basir did, I'll give a general rundown, and again, maybe in between that as well, I'll be saying a few things with respect to particular debaters and respective debaters. So the first thing with respect to our feedback for this encounter is to acknowledge all the debaters, so to speak, because all the debaters appeared to have understood exactly what the expectation was, what the debate is about, what their roles were, and what we would have expected from each of them. Okay. So to start with the Prime Minister did something that, for the most part, is a lot, sometimes very absent from debates that I have participated in, debates that I have also followed online, debates that I have watched, and then, I mean, prominent people debate and then we watch them. But this is something that I feel has always been, it's not been very common in most of the debates that I have witnessed. And again, that is a very important aspect of every debate that one partakes in. That is to kind of conceptualize the motion, to help the audience to understand exactly what this motion is about and what it means to us. To kind of inject that level of seriousness into the debate so that all of us who are listening are not only seeing you as someone who is making a presentation, but are also shown that this motion is a motion that we as an audience have a stake in. Okay, so I believe that the Prime Minister, to a very great extent, has done that, and she should be credited for that. Okay, because that also serves a debate in two fronts. All right, meaning it's not only an argument, but it's also a session where individuals are educated, because she's already made it very clear what the responsibility of ECOWAS is, what it has always been, and what it will be, and what going without a standing ECOWAS force would mean for the region. Okay, all of that is clear. And again, like we say, there's always room for improvement, no matter how well a person has done. And as far as I am concerned, as an adjudicator, I believe that she's done extremely well. All right, but then one problem that I had with the presentation was the not necessarily having a lot of reasons as to why this is necessary. So I've already made that very clear when I was speaking about the content of the debate, that not only are we looking at the strength of the argument you're giving, but we're equally looking at the relevance of it. So assuming right now we're in a dilemma as a country, whether the ECOWAS forces we have in place, should they go or should we maintain them permanently? If we're in that dilemma, we're not as much as interested in the need and the context why they're here, as we're interested in knowing whether or not them continuing to be here serves us right or it doesn't. So this is where the problem was as far as the Prime Minister's arguments are concerned, but it was an incredible submission, to be quite honest. And I can go on and on and on talking about how incredible the submission was, but this was the only shortcoming as far as I'm concerned. And then moving on quickly to the deputy opposition leader. Sorry, to the deputy prime minister. So the deputy prime minister, I believe that should be Mr. Dibasi. Yes, he did extremely well. Okay, I like the composure, the calmness, the not being in a rush, the mature debater type, making sure that the points are clear and well put out. But again, we realize that it is good as that is, in as confidence exuding as that is, there's a problem because you're given a particular amount of time and then you're not supposed to debate outside of the time that you're given. And I believe the points that he has presented, as far as I'm concerned, they're very relevant and they're very strong. That is, with respect to the economy and with respect to the politicization of the forces, meaning the individuals in the Gambia right now who are in the military, all of them identify, even though they don't do it publicly, but we know that each of these individuals secretly identifies with a particular group in the Gambia, or because they're all from communities. So, but he's saying if the ECOWAS forces are deployed in the Gambia, they're going to be seen as a neutral force that doesn't owe an alliance to any of the groups within the Gambia, which is true. And the problem is that point could not have been considered by virtue of the fact that we are operating by rules. And the moment the time allocated to you has run out, everything that you say would serve as a source of information for the adjudicators, but it is not counted to be part of that which we'll be using to grade the debaters. So I think that was where the problem was. It was with respect to the time management, but the arguments were solid. Okay, yes, and above board. So with respect to the opposition leader, Mr. Barry did a great job as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the debunking was epic, and I believe that all of those who have debated before would agree with me that for the most part, we see debate as if a person says something, deny everything. But again, we know that as we're growing and we are partaking in a lot of debates, we realize that it is not necessarily always about disagreeing, because there are universal truths. And if a person says that, you disregard that, then it means you're not really interested in arriving at the truth. You're interested in being the loudest voice in the room, okay? So, but Mr. Barry has defined that for us by ensuring that as an opposition, they agree that ECOWAS is important. They agreed that security is important. They agreed that democracy is important, but their concern is having ECOWAS forces permanently stationed in West African countries. They're asking about the sustainability of that. And that is what is in contention today. It's not whether or not African countries should be democratic, whether they shouldn't be. The point of contention today is when we have ECOWAS forces permanently stationed in African countries, does that serve us right or it doesn't? So as far as he's concerned, his position has been the harms outweigh the benefits. Okay, so I guess that was a very, I don't really know how to call it. I don't have the right word, but that was it was a very intelligent move, okay, on the side of the opposition leader. All right, and then moving on, he's also given some, he's quoted some local legislation, some international law, African Charter, the ICCPRC, and by the way, the Gambia is a party to all of these laws. Okay, the Gambia has signed and ratified these laws, and then thereby the Gambia, by virtue of the Vienna Convention, the Gambia is bound by these provisions. Okay, so the only problem that we have with respect to that is the opposition leader. All of these instruments that he mentioned or quoted are all relevant. All right, Gambia is a party to all of them, and even the 1997 Constitution as well. All right, which is the mother or the primary source of all our legislations as a country. But the problem is the prime minister, the opposition leader, could not do a very great job with respect to kind of showing us as judges the relevance of those legislations with respect to the point or the motion that is being debated today. I guess that was the only room that was that improvement is needed on. Apart from that, the debate was for me, it was spectacular. To be honest, it was extraordinary. All right. So the deputy opposition leader did extremely well. He knew exactly what he was supposed to do, what his responsibility was, which was to make sure that the points of the opposition leader are given weight, the points of the government bench are debunked, and then equally he gave an alternative. For him, I will like to go on and on with respect to his submissions, but like I said, time is always the enemy. But then I believe it should be Mr. Weye. He did extremely well. The alternative was given as opposed to before having ECOWAS stationed permanently ECOWAS forces permanently stationed. We can use mediation where countries meet each other and then mediate and then decide, come to a resolution as to, an amicable solution for the different conflicts that are, undergoing. And equally debunk a point. No, he made a point that I felt was not sufficiently substantiated. And that was with respect to the logistics or something. He said something about ECOWAS not having, ECOWAS not being economically stable to be able to soldier that particular responsibility. Okay, but Mr. Weye did not give us a figure, okay, that would kind of make us understand really whether or not ECOWAS does have the money or it doesn't. All that Mr. Weye said, ECOWAS doesn't. So what is going to help us really believe that that is not just an opinion, but it's a fact, is by giving us evidence. And we've always said this, and I'll reiterate, if you give a point and you don't give us a piece of evidence backing it from a credible source, then you give us a problem. Because now we are going to be torn between considering it as a fact and considering it as an opinion. And that doesn't make our work easier, to be honest. All right, so I would have wanted to go on and on, like I said, but time is always the enemy. And the respective debaters as well, if you want any particular or specific feedback on any of the points that you must have raised, please, the page is available, and then I will advise we make good use of it. You can always ask your questions, and then if any of us is free, they're going to respond to you so that we are fair to the audience, members of the audience who are here also waiting to hear the results. So I'll quickly move on. After we have tabulated our results for today, we want to, before we could announce the winner, we want to announce the best speaker of this encounter. So from all the points that have been gathered, the best speaker, and this is it was something that we had to have a back and forth on as judges. And again, what we had to have a back and forth on was whether or not the individual should deservedly be given that high score that he was given. But as to who the best speaker of today's debate is or should be, there was no debate about that as far as the adjudicators are concerned, because after we did our tabulation and we had a discussion, we realized that this individual is deserving of it. So the best speaker for today's encounter would go to the opposition leader. That would be Mr. Barry for Malaysia. And then for Malaysia, so the total scores for both teams, Kenya, after we've tabulated everything, after we've put everything together, Kenya has 67%. Please, I would like you guys to react to that, to also show Kenya that we're indeed incredibly proud of their performance. This is no small feat. It's been an interesting encounter. And I know the audience can also attest to the fact that the time we took to come to this conclusion was really long, because it was a close one, to be quite honest. And then Malaysia has 69%. So that's the result for today, which means Malaysia has won today's encounter. But like we would like to always say, Kenya is equally a winner, because only coming out and then making sure that you partake in the discussions that are relevant to our development as a country is no small engagement. It's big, and we appreciate it. All right. So I return the baton back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed, for those wonderful remarks and those analyses as well. So yeah, Liro Sutarata Malala, I think like we have actually reached the end of the debate. So I would like to invite Mr. Abdurrahim Jallo, the President of the Association of Government Students in Kenya, to give us the closing remarks. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Mustafa?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Abdul Rahim. You are audible here. Maybe
Yes,
if you
can you hear
camera,
me?
on the camera as well, if possible.
Okay, let me try because I'm in a bit of a dark place. Yes, can you see me now?
Yeah, it's perfect now. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everybody wherever you are. Jallo Abdurrahim is my name. I'm the president of the Gambia Students in Kenya. I think I agree with most of the people who have participated in the comments. I think this was an interesting debate. It was an interesting conversation. I think this conversation needs to be kept going on. Yes, my greatest thanks goes to the president of the Gambian students in India, Sajo, and your team, Mustafa, and the rest of them, and every other association that has participated or supported this activity in one way or the other. I just want to add one thing. I think, we need to try to, especially in the comment section, to try to encourage the debaters instead of discouraging them. I've seen some comments whilst going through the debate. I've been on the call or on this from the beginning to the end. I have not even left because my internet is good today. So please, I urge all of us, to at least encourage the debaters, not to put them down. I think it was a well-fought battle, and I'm proud of my team. I think this debate needs to be kept on, and when we debate, let's debate respectfully and sensibly. We are all academics, Academics can put their points across without sounding condescending to the other team. Congratulations to the winners. And I think that is all from me. Thank you.
Throughout everything, we just want to say a very big thank you to each and everyone who actually joined today's debate session. So I can say see you tomorrow. So for tomorrow's session, the time have been changed, so we will just communicate it to you. So in Gambia, it will be 12 p.m. at GMT, and it's going to be 17:50, 17:30. That is 5:30 Indian time. Thank you very much. Yeah.